On Facebook, you said.
Live on YouTube.
My dad's from Canada and he owns, my grandparents own 3 restaurants.
Okay, come to you guys.
So
Hold on, Ben, hold on.
He grew up in that, so when he came down here, he has his full-time job and like he does that too and all that.
That's awesome, Kenzie.
Live.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, y'all?
We're excited about today. Look, I was talking to Buddy, and we figured we were going to have a really good conversation. And almost every day, actually Monday to Friday, we've been doing Zoom calls with some of our students.
Yeah.
And we thought that today's was just such an awesome conversation that we wanted to share it with everybody. So do us a favor real quick. Will you share with everybody real quick? Go ahead and share this.
Share,
Get
like,
it out there.
tag a friend.
Look, we want to be interactive. So, hey, Jessica, what is up? Jessica, how do you say your last name? I will botch that. I would feel like a really bad person. How do you pronounce that? Zaffarisi. I don't know. Zaffarisi. I don't know. But Jessica, I'm happy you're on. And I'm happy that I'll be able to learn how to say your last name and not botch it like an absolute goober.
Thanks.
Susan Walker, look, she has done a great job raising some amazing kids.
Yes, they're awesome.
And Presley's graduating. What are we going to do with a graduated Presley?
Man, he's gonna be like a Bible scholar. I mean, he already is.
Bible
Just
scholar,
a walking
right?
Bible.
He's a walking Bible.
Like Presley, what's this verse? I forgot what it was. Oh, I know it.
Yeah, it's actually, that is true. That is true. But guys, go ahead and do us a favor. Share, so we can get this out, so people can hear. We're excited about it. And we're just going to have a discussion, right? I think it's really good. One of the guys who's spoken a lot in my life, he told me this, and it was like, he said, the secret is in the conversation.
Yeah.
And we want to help. And maybe you're an adult listening to this and you know some teenagers that are like, they could benefit from it. Maybe you're an adult, you're saying, hey, that sounds a lot like me. Look, maybe we're in the same boat. But I'm going to share this real quick and then we're going to get into the conversation. If you could share it, that'd be awesome. And I'm actually going to let Buddy start off by just real quick telling about himself, where the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
And then how he actually came to know Christ and serve him.
So I mean, I guess. So since today, to stay on the topic what we talked about, I didn't really grow up around church like that. My real first experience with church was here at Uproar Youth. I went to different types of church before, but I didn't really have that connection. And my first real connection was here. And then, I would come faithfully for a while, and then, I'd fall off and I'd come faithfully for a while. But, like within school, I didn't have, a personal, like, at-home relationship with Jesus. Pretty much, what it hinged on was me coming on Thursdays, and, that's what I was striving off. I wasn't reading my Bible at home. I wasn't, praying at home, things like that. So when I'd be in school, I didn't really, I didn't know, like, what it meant to, like, go evangelize and tell people about the gospel, or,
right,
no
one ever told you about it at church.
Yeah,
right?
because,
no
one
never talked about evangelism at church, I swear.
So like, since I never, had that real, like, true, like, one-on-one relationship, I didn't really have the urge to do any of those things. I didn't really understand, like, what was the big deal about it. I would invite people to Thursdays, but, I would only invite them because, like, it was mad fun. Free food, there's girls that go, come. So, I would go.
Guys.
And really, since I didn't have that one-on-one relationship, once I would hit school and I would be around, all my friends who weren't saved, girls, I would have, be in relationships and stuff like that. So, I was really, would fall off. And it wasn't it wasn't really until after school when, and this, I think this is the craziest part, is a lot of people say, I'll just wait till after school. And really, what I try to
So
tell a
many
lot of people,
say that.
what I try to tell a lot of people is like, it's even harder after school because you no longer have the restrictions of, like your day is filled up with being at school. Monday through Friday, you're at school for majority of the day and then you go home. That eats up majority of your time. But when you're out of school, unless, you would go to work and then you come home and then you have, all the free time in the world. You can drive, your friends drive, you can go to any types of parties. Your parents are usually way more lenient, about you drinking and smoking and having relationships and things like that. People usually end up, getting their apartments and stuff like that. There's way more freedoms. So it's, you're way less obligated now and way less, obligated now to follow Jesus. So that's how I was for, a few years after I graduated. And then thankfully, Pastor Cody and Zach, they stalked me at my job at Target.
I am a professional stalker.
I was just like, yo, why are they always here?
Because we have wives that are obsessed
Yeah.
with Target as well.
And I did not know that. I was like, because I really didn't know, anything about like Target like that. So I was like, yo, like why are like they always here? And one day they just pulled up on me, and I worked the cash register. So it's like I can't. It's not like I can be like, all right, I got X, I gotta go, I gotta do this. Nope, I was stuck, and I was like, dang. And they were like, yo, just come on a Thursday, whatever. And I'm just like, they were like, what are you doing today? It was a Thursday. I was like, what are you doing today? And I was just like, nothing. It was like, oh, you said come. And I was like, man, like I don't have a ride, and I gotta go home. They're like, oh, what time do you get off? And I was like, I think I said like 4 or something like that. They're like, oh, perfect. We can just come pick you up. And I was like, yeah. I was like, all right. And pretty much from that Thursday. I got saved. Actually, this month will make it 2 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this month will make it 2 years. So, which is crazy, and this 2 years has, really flown by. I'm in Bible college. I'm actually, this is actually my last semester before I graduate. I do a lot of stuff within our youth department and things like that. And more to come.
Announcements, not right now.
Yeah, not right now. Coming up. So,
y'all.
Stay tuned. But yeah, that's pretty much, my story or whatever.
Yeah. So for me, complete opposite. I was like basically born on the front row at church.
Yeah.
What's up, Marsha? Heidi. Yes. College definitely does bring freedom. Way too much freedom.
Yeah.
It's wild. And yeah, professional stalking here, Miss Marsha. Professionals. But yeah, complete opposite. I can count on like my hands and toes how many times I've missed church in my life. Actually, I've missed church more in the last 8 weeks than I have my entire life. Simply because we haven't been able to go. It's wild.
Yeah.
But when I was like 16, my youth pastor like suddenly left. And I was like, before that, I had been bringing a ton of friends. Like I had a lot of friends come to church with me. And I was like good, but I wasn't really reading and praying. We did devotions every morning. It was a personal decision. I saw it modeled perfectly at home.
Yeah.
But when my youth pastor left, I was like, yo, screw that. I was mad. I took it personal.
Yeah.
And I was still bringing people, but then like I had a friend whose mom didn't care what we did. So I just went there every weekend, and it didn't matter what we did. And I completely fell off and set an absolute horrible example of what a Christian should look like to any of my close friends that I was bringing to church. And, like, number one, don't let your kids spend the night anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, don't let your kids spend the night.
I made that decision. I don't care how much I like the kid. My kids are not spending the night anywhere.
Yeah, no.
Ever. You can come to my house, and that's it. But the question is, what would I have done differently in high school?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. So I'm going to throw it right to Buddy.
Yeah.
And that's the question. What would you have done differently during high school?
So I think me and like, some of my friends, like me and Mo, were talking about this the other day. And I was like, I think we just put ourselves like, I was like, if I could take like myself right now and go like back to like the beginning of high school, what would I do? And, besides, like the obvious things of like, really be, soul winning heavy and really invite people and stuff like that. I told myself what I would really try to do, and I think this is really important for a lot of Christians, is we should really try to, be huge influences in our school. We don't have to, we don't have to stay away from all the different types of activities and things like that. We don't have to try to be, just the little Christian club in the corner.
Right.
We don't have to do that. We can be, the class presidents. We can be, the captains of the sports team. We can be, the top of our class and any type of thing. And I love this verse just for leadership in Judges 5:2. It says, when leaders lead in Israel, when the people willingly offer themselves, bless the Lord. And when we as leaders, when we start to lead, and people are going to willingly follow. And imagine how much more influence we could have, and or you guys could have in your schools if we could find these opportunities. And not everyone is not everyone's going to be a class president. Not everyone is going to be the most popular, quote unquote popular person. Yeah. Which just to give you a heads up, those people that you see in school who are like the popular kids, none of that matters in like the outside world. No. Popularity is really only a social status within school, and then once you're outside of school.
Because then the popular kids end up being the ones that nobody knew, but they like grinded in high school, grinded in college, and now they got everything that everybody else wanted.
No joke. All the people I know in school, like the people who are like really behind the scenes and just kept to themselves, they're like some of the most successful, well-known people I know.
Right.
And this is sad to say, is that a lot of the super popular kids that I know are like drug addicts. Sad. They have really dropped out of college and stuff like that, and it's upsetting. But it kind of shows what's so wrong with a lot of people is that they think they need that approval from people, which is you don't. You really don't.
Well, that actually leads us into like the point I wanted to make is, so like you're saying like you would have stepped up to be more of a leader, whether it be like starting a school group, and if you don't know how to do that but you want to, we can hook you up with some places.
Yes.
OVSM.com. OVSM.com.
Yeah.
Some Jesus clubs. We're gonna get Jesus clubs rolling in our local high schools this year, and I'm excited about it. But I would agree, like, I definitely, like, on some levels would be a leader, but other levels completely not, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I would definitely led my friends to do some stupid things, and I led some of my friends to church.
Yeah.
But I didn't, like, actually lead them to Jesus, and that was my mistake. And I didn't lead them to Jesus because of what you were just talking about, is like the approval of man. I brought them to church because that's where I had to be.
Yeah.
It was crazy because, like, my youth pastor, like, they liked my youth pastor, they had fun.
Yeah.
But because of how I was living on the backside, they didn't take my God seriously because I didn't take him seriously. And that sucks because I think it's like 80% of people that come to Jesus do so before the age of 18, which means 80% of people don't come to Jesus after 18, which is awful.
It is awful.
What's up, Sean? I miss you, bro. I hope you're doing good. But Galatians 1:10 says, like, for am I seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I wouldn't be a servant of Christ. Yeah. Is what Paul said. So really, the issue is this, is like, in high school, I really like was all about pleasing man and doing what I thought would be cool and acceptable and fun to them. Yeah. But that's what eventually brought like death and pain and harm to their lives as well. So I was more scared of getting rejected than and they didn't even really reject anything that I was giving them back then. Yeah. Especially like 9th, 10th grade, like everybody was pretty much open to come to church with me. But I was definitely like more concerned about like, I did not talk about church and Jesus to any of those people. And I wasn't like the most popular kid in the school at all. Like I had some friends that were popular, but for sure was not like in that clique of super popular kids. I had some friends in that clique, but I don't know what it was, but I definitely, that drove the fact that I was living on some level to please man. Yeah. But I definitely, like, if I were to go back to high school, that wouldn't be the question at all, because now I see in retrospect what the lives look like of people that I was trying to please. Exactly. And it's really heartbreaking because, like, man, some of those people aren't here anymore.
Yeah, that's actually very true.
It's been 10 years. That's it. Like, I'm not that old. Yeah. If I shave the beard, people would think that I'm graduating this year. But man, like some of those people aren't even here.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that like, man, one friend that I used to like party with and stuff, like he passed away or like late last year.
Dang.
Of like a tragic overdose.
Yeah.
And I never like, I lived for his approval, but I never showed him what God's approval looked like in that context. And I like, we grew up from when we were little, like we were on the same Little League team.
Yeah.
So the people like I tried to please, now they're searching for the truth that I was able to find.
That's actually, and that's actually something that I wish I would have realized in school, because, you know, what I'm thinking is that like, okay, well, if I just act, you know, how quote unquote, you know, normal Buddy is, and I'll get the approval from my friends and the people that I want around me, then that'll be better for everyone else and everyone's life will be better. But in reality is that what I'm coming to realize is that a lot of these people needed to hear, you know, that message.
Yeah.
A lot of these people needed, you know, that invite to church. A lot of these people needed, you know, me to share the gospel with them, because, you know, and it's kind of crazy how normalized it is, like, you know, depression and anxiety and like suicide and stuff like that is so normalized today that people just look over it. You know, people will say it like, you know, people will say it and it's just like, oh, whatever. But, you know, a lot of people needed that. And like you said, you know, it's upsetting is that, you know, a lot of people some people that are from school are no longer here today. You know, I know a few people that have passed away from, you know, drug overdoses or shootings or whatever it may be. And it's so sad. And it kind of thinks is like, you know, what if I would have just told them, or what if I would have just told them?
Well, even like that, like I think we don't realize that like when we're not in Jesus, we're in bondage.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no middle ground, right? Like I wish I would have realized that more, that if somebody's not in Jesus, they're in bondage.
Yeah.
In Exodus, I've been reading Exodus, and like what you guys like, how I've been reading my Bible lately. I've loved reading my Bible this way. I'm going super slow, and I'm tearing apart notes. Like I just got to the middle of Exodus 2, and I've been reading Exodus for like 3 days. But it's crazy because like the new king that didn't know Joseph and his family or the God that brought them there put taskmasters over them. And I was thinking about like, man, like because they were no longer in Jesus, but they were in slavery to the world, there were taskmasters set over them. And those taskmasters are like, they literally would whip them, beat them, make them build, make them like go through the motions that they wanted. Yeah. And like even now we have taskmasters, right? Like we have a taskmaster of culture, and I wish people could be free from culture. Yeah. Like
that's very true.
That's probably like one of the biggest ones. Like, well, why do you waste your money on that? Why do you talk like that? Why do you take those actions? It all points back to culture. Yep. Or even like suicide, depression, loneliness. Those are taskmasters. Yeah. Anger. It's a taskmaster. ADHD. Yeah. It's a taskmaster. Yeah. And the realization of, if you're not in Jesus, you're in bondage. Mm-hmm. You're like, well, no, they're not. Like, you can be in bondage but not know you're in bondage. Yeah, it's very 100%. True. Because if you've never had freedom, you don't know what you're bound to.
That's very true.
And I think like it's like never tasting the greatest steak in the world. Like you never know that there was something better out there until you finally get it. Exactly. And it's almost helping people realize like there's more out there than what the world shows you. Exactly. That's the key. Is like it. People don't know that there's better. Like it. I saw this TikTok and it was like had like 2 million views on it. It was this kid and he's like, "What if I told you that the building you are in right now is on fire, and you look back and said, I don't believe in fire. Does it change the fact that there's a fire? No, there's still a fire. You don't have to believe in fire. Yeah. To believe that the building's to know that the building's still on fire.
Yeah, it's still on fire regardless of what you believe.
Yeah, like there's still bondage whether you believe it or not. And the reality on the flip side is there's freedom.
Yeah, and I think what's kind of wild about that is that sometimes people will realize that they're in bondage, but they found so much identity within it, they don't want to get rid of it because they're like, dang.
That's the
once I'm free, it's like, okay, what's next? Yeah, and that's actually
this is the question, and we can't steal it. It was so good. Manny Arango asked the question in our leadership at Upper Conference last year, which we're having conference, and we're about to make some crazy announcements next Monday.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to Instagram and email lists and all that. Like I promise. Like, I'm just telling you, there's only going to be a limited amount of seats, and if you don't register beforehand, you're not getting it. So you can go to the upper.org right now and register, so you know you're getting a seat. It's exclusive. We got that exclusive. But Manny asked the question. He's like, "Do you want to be healed?" And but that's the same question that Jesus asked the man at the pool of Bethesda. Do you want to be healed? Because a lot of people like the idea of healing, but they don't really want to be healed.
They don't really want it.
They get attention, they have identity, they have all these things around their issues instead of finding freedom. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've seen, not just with teenagers, but even adults, is like, they don't know what is next, therefore they're okay with what they're in now.
Yeah, because at least they know what it is, and it's kind of a sort of a, I guess, comfort zone, I guess.
Yeah, but like even like comfort zones are one of the scariest things, because when you become comfortable, you become so vulnerable. You forget. Like, when I think of comfort, I think of forgetting purpose, right? Like, anybody that gets too comfortable, they're not working anymore towards something. And we should be working towards something. It's whatever Jesus has purpose for us. So I would have done that in high school. I wish I would have realized that although the people I loved and spent a lot of time with might not have been like drug addicts and all these crazy things, that they were still in a level of bondage without Jesus.
Yeah. I fully agree.
And there's no, like, you can't, it is what it is.
Yeah.
According to the scriptures, if we're not in Christ, we're in sin.
Yeah.
And the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. Whether you believe that or not, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And you can't argue that is the truth.
Exactly what it is.
So definitely with that, I definitely would say that I was like ashamed of the gospel in high school for sure. Like, I went to church and I brought my close friends to church, and people knew I was like a church kid.
Yeah.
But you didn't catch me ever like, no, Jesus loves you and he cares about you and he died for you. I never did that.
Yeah.
Not I can remember even like once in high school.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I look at all these kids now and like, man, I've tried to tell some of them, and people like, I guess like, I still talk to people, and people are like, yo, so-and-so was at the bar saying that you and your brother are crazy for this church thing and all this made up bull crap. And it's like, well, it's crazy because they're at the bar seeking for the next person or the next drink, the next high, the next moment, but I'm good. Like, I don't need that. So it's more sad to me that they're more opposed to the message because I was ashamed in high school.
Exactly.
And now that I'm not scared about it, it's more of an opposition because they're older. And I think about all those formative moments that people had in high school, like friends, parents getting divorces. And, man, like people deciding like, hey, I'm going to start living this lifestyle to please others. And if I would have been bold back then, what is the impact that could have happened?
Exactly. That's actually, so true, because I can remember like times where, I would go, and I'd be good, and everyone would know I'd go, and they'd be like, "Oh well,
buddy's on his church way.
You're just a church, you're on your church boy now. You're different." And that was always like scary to me, because I was like, how am I different? How am I different? I remember one time, this is actually kind of funny. We're in study hall, and I was like sitting there I was like openly reading my Bible, and I was sitting there, and like my friends were talking, whatever. And I had a female friend. I think she said like something like mad sexual to me. And I looked to her and I got tight. I said, "Don't talk to me." I said, "Don't talk to me like that." She said, "What?" I was just playing around. I said, "Would you talk to a pastor like that?" And then I was like, "Don't talk to me like that." And then she was like, "Oh, you just acting mad different now, blah, blah, blah." And I was so mad. And I was like, "Nah, I'm not acting different. I'm not acting different." And then after I was like, man, like, am I acting different, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, everyone around you is like, you're acting different. This is not like you. And even, to a culture thing, because, like, just me growing up, being an African-American male, it's like, all I heard was, like, white church, black church, and it's like, oh, you go to a white church, and, or even, Christianity is, white man's religion, and you're brainwashed and stuff like that.
That is the most annoying
which
thing.
is the dumbest thing in the world.
Tell me how the largest church in the world right now is in Nigeria.
And people, because people are only people that say that have never read the Bible. If you just read the Bible, you clearly know it's not any culture or race, religion.
They never read the Bible, and they have no worldview
at all.
Like
none.
Seoul, South Korea. People are just going to church
in clothes and don't know anything. But
that's wild to me.
So with that stuff, it's like dang, so I'm constantly battling with the culture and trying to fit in, and so I shy away from it a little bit. But I know one thing I never shied away from was like if anyone ever said God wasn't real, I would fight it tooth and nail. I wouldn't go to church, wouldn't be saved, wouldn't read my Bible. But if you said God wasn't real, I was ready to argue for hours. But yeah, and really is really realizing like it doesn't matter what anyone else has to say, and this is why and even I always bring him up, but this because it's my brother. But with Cole, this is why like I applaud him so much. I admire him so much because his senior year, when he got his stuff together, and I remember he would come home from school, and he'd be like, "Bro, today was just so brutal." Like the kids. They just, constantly just talked about me and all this type of stuff. But I think what I believe was always so awesome, like about his heart was he was never upset about how they treated him. He was upset because he was like, bro, I know they're damaged and I know they're hurt. That's why they act like that. And if we can all just switch and get our mindset, like, I know the reason why they're acting like that is because, they're hurt people. We can do so many things, and that stuck with me forever. Imagine if I had that mindset in school, is that them saying these type of things is it's not necessarily because they're just trying to be mean, but they're hurt and there's a reason behind it, and that's why they need you to act the way you're acting. They need you to to spread the gospel and and be that church boy, be that Jesus boy or whatever.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people too like. They think that they're going to miss out on something in high school.
FOMO.
Right. It's a fear of missing out. Like, I'm going to miss out on the party. I'm going to miss out on this. But, like, what I even realized about that, bro, how many people, like, okay, you miss out on the boy or the girl, but then people start talking so much crap about you.
You don't...
Like, what would you rather be called, a church boy or a hub?
Listen,
like, be real.
All the way.
Like,
all the way.
Oh, you're just some church girl. As opposed to, like, do you remember what she did that one night at that party? Like, bro, say whatever you want bad about church, as opposed to like some stupid that I did because I was trying to not quote miss out.
But now what's crazy about that is nowadays is that like those type of words are like cool. It's cool to be a hoe, or it's cool to sleep around or drink around and stuff like that.
Broadcast,
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Gosh,
but it's cool.
What are we gonna do with you?
Cool. I apologize whoever's watching, but it's cool to do those, which is upsetting.
We're gonna wash them out
because people are trying to create and find an identity out of that, which is awful. And back to like the fear of missing out thing is like when I look back on like all the parties I went to and stuff like that, nothing out of it. Wasted tons of money that I wish I had right now on buying alcohol or throwing money for gas or, just spending a whole bunch of money because you're drunk and high like crazy. And all of it was a waste. Nothing added any type of value to my life after that. And I tell people that all the time. I say, listen, you might think like you're missing out on these parties and this lifestyle, but you're going to look back in a year and you're not even going to remember it. And it's not going to add no type of value.
I tell you what you miss out on. You'll miss out on disappointment. You'll miss out on pain. You'll miss out on anger. You'll miss out on people leaving your life. You miss out on a lot of things that are negative. Yeah. And you remain protected from a lot of foolish things. And that's really the key is like, what do you think you're missing out on? Really what you're missing out on is damnation and pain and destruction. And I wish in high school I would have realized that I wasn't really missing out on something. I was actually being protected from something.
Exactly.
What I was missing out on was everything negative that the Lord was trying to keep out of my life.
Exactly.
But I decided since I didn't have what the other people supposedly had, a story about Friday or Saturday night, then I had missed out, and that's not the truth.
Exactly.
The reality is they were trying to find what I had sitting in my dang living room the whole time, and I was too stupid to notice it.
Exactly.
So there's that, but I think really like a lot of this comes from not having that like genuine relationship with Jesus. Yep. And like it's two different sides of the coin. Like you didn't have it because it just wasn't there. And, like, you had great encounters with Jesus. Yeah. Like, there was one spring retreat Like I remember like end of the weekend. Were you good? Being good at that point, or what was like? I don't remember. I think you had just come back.
Which one? Which one?
Or you were crying outside.
Oh, that one. I think I was good, but the issue was like I was like battling with it because I was like I think that was like the best I was doing, but I was like, no, I don't. I'm like not like I felt like the not worthy enough to be in like this position.
Got you. So like he had great encounters with Jesus, but no like consistent relationship with Jesus. I just saw it as religion from the other side, like, well, we have to do our devotions, and I have to go to church, and I have to do this, and I hate my youth pastor for leaving me kind of deal. But to realize, like, what I would have done differently in high school is I would have actually, like, loved the Lord. Yeah,
literally.
And that would have changed everything. Because if I loved the Lord, I would have been built in my word. In Matthew 7, I think it's 24, I bookmarked it. I love this. Yeah, 24. If anyone who listens to my teachings and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on a solid rock. Though the rain comes, torrents, and the floodwaters rise, and the winds beat against the house, it won't collapse because it's built on my bedrock. Yep. And I would actually built my life on Jesus and not just emotions and feelings and scared of like what other people would say. Exactly. It would have been completely different. And then like imagine my friends that I did bring to church. Imagine they would have actually maybe been influenced to truly follow Jesus. Exactly. Imagine what that outcome could have been like. Imagine, man, if I would have started a school group. I should have started a school group. Like, I think a lot of people's problem too, though, like I'm just thinking out loud, is they think like what the worst could happen is. Yeah. They're like, well, what negative could come of this instead of like thinking of like, well, what positive could come of this? Like, well, I'm scared to tell my friends about Jesus. What if they don't like me no more? Well, what if they all fall in love with me?
What if they like you have like the greatest group in the world?
What if your whole high school gets saved? Because like we don't ask the right questions sometimes. We ask like the scared questions, and we don't ask like the right questions.
Yeah, it's true, and that's actually and it really goes along with like it's weird how people just most people just have the first thing is, okay, what could go wrong? Yeah. But it's like, it's really switching. And honestly, this is even what's happened with me since I've been saved, and really having that relationship with Jesus makes you flip your perspective on everything and makes you think, okay, what can go good? What can be an amazing outcome out of this? And that's really where we should reside.
And you know what, though? Like, even with that, that makes me think of Cole, kind of. So, like, okay, Cole, like, he's not on here, but we'll represent him well. Yeah. Acted a fool all of high school up until summer of senior year. Gets wrecked at Upper Conference. Again, if you're not signed up for Upper Conference yet, there's only going to be 800 tickets. Actually, 700 tickets because we're saving a bunch for our kids. Yeah. And then there's already over 100 claimed. So if you're not signed up yet, man, you're going to miss out. Yeah. But that's your fault.
Get to it.
Well, there's only going to be 800 people.
Get to it.
So get to it, theupper.org. But Cole, like, summer, senior year, gets wrecked at conference, gets crazy about Jesus, doesn't play basketball, breaks up with his girlfriend, and, like, goes on a, like, madman sharing the gospel with anybody who has breath in their lungs to her. And it was amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. But he starts this, like, school group, and, like, you're looking at him like, man, it's going to take off. These kids are going to know Jesus. The school's going to have revival, and, like, you're psyched about it. And, like, he had, maybe 10 kids that were coming? Yeah. And it ended up, like, the end of the year, like, only about 10 kids were coming. But the reality is that was 10 kids that might not have known Jesus. Yeah. That was hundreds of other kids that might not have known Jesus. Yeah. And if at the end of the year, if you looked at Cole to start with and be like, hey, you're only going to have 10 kids ever, is it still worth it? It would have been worth every single moment, right?
And I think what's even awesome is that two of the girls who they only came a few times to that group, now her and all their family come here now. Kalia.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. But, like, you just never know the impact. And I think a lot of people, like, they don't ask, like, what's the good that could come of it? And they think that it's minimal. Like, it doesn't matter if only one person comes. It's an eternity that was changed.
Exactly.
And if the whole school gets saved, oh, my gosh, look out. Like, it's going to be just absolutely insane. And that's what we're believing for. Yeah. And I just think we ask the wrong questions. We ask questions based in fear instead of questions based in like, well, what if just one gets saved? Okay, then it's worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
What if everyone turns their back on me? Then they might not ever been for you.
Exactly.
You know? Or even like, just keep asking questions like that. Like, okay, what if no one serves Jesus this year because of it? Well, what if they serve Jesus in 10 years because of it?
Exactly.
Someone said this to me one time. It was genius. He said, being like a minister of the gospel, and if you're saved, you're a minister of the gospel, is one of the hardest things. He's like, think about it. Being a plumber is way easier. Because at the end of the day, you can look back and see the plumbing that you had installed and see if it was good or bad, or you can walk away. He's like, being a carpenter, it's not easy work, but it's easy because you can see the wall you built at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's like, being a pastor is difficult because you might not see the soul saved for 3 decades.
Yeah.
And you might not know the impact until heaven.
It's so, that's so true. And that's why, like, that even sticks with me because it's so funny. Is that, you know, I think about it like with like me, Cole, Mo, Mason, like all of us, like
can't stand you guys.
you and Mindy and everybody been chasing us since we're 14, and you know now we're
Mo. Like Mo just became our intern in youth. This man, I remember in 7th grade, like he's like, I really feel called to be a pastor. Then all of high school, he's acting a fool.
Yeah.
All of high school. Acting a fool, and then like graduates high school right after conference.
Exactly.
He's looking at me. I was like, "You sign up for Corning Community College yet?" No. Why not, dude? Classes start in like 2 weeks. He's like, "Because I just signed up for Bible college." Like, you couldn't have done this a year ago. You had to wait.
Yo,
so like, you never know.
Yeah,
you just don't know.
I never know.
What would have I done in high school? I would have taken the risk, man.
Exactly.
I would have jumped all in. I wouldn't have been quiet. I wouldn't have been silent. I wouldn't have sat back. I would have just went all in and gone buck wild for Jesus, knowing that 80% of people who come to Christ do so by the age of 18.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that junior, senior year make some damning decisions that really hurt them.
Yeah.
Like hurt.
So true.
And I would have done it differently in high school. I wouldn't have lived for the approval of man at all. Knowing what I know now and trying to help influence you, I would say, look, if they're not in Jesus, they're in bondage.
Yeah.
And I don't like. You almost think about, has anybody seen Scared Straight, Beyond Scared Straight?
Yo, that show is the funniest show in the world.
It's crazy
It's
though.
the funniest show in the world.
Because like the kids are real bold.
Yeah.
Because they know the prisoners can't do anything to them from behind bars.
Yeah.
I would have been like those kids. I would have been like so bold about the gospel because knowing those people are in bondage, they didn't actually scare me.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. That's so true.
But how many of them are like, no? Like you never see a kid and they're like, no, I'm not gonna say nothing because they're behind those bars and they couldn't get me.
Yeah.
They're like saying the crazy stuff. Like you got some like 13-year-old 4'8" little kid with a bowl cut talking junk to some dude who's like 260 all muscle with thrown by his ankle. But he was bold enough to say it because he knew he was in bondage and there couldn't be any negative repercussions on him. Like realize, man, like they're in bondage and they need freedom. Don't talk crap, but they need
don't
Jesus.
Don't talk crap.
Don't be scared of people that are in bondage. Take the risk. What do you have to lose, man? Like start the school group.
Yeah.
Lay hands on the sick. Talk about Jesus boldly and openly. Don't live a double life. Like go all in for Jesus. You'll be shocked and some people will be mean, some people will be dumb, but who cares? You know, like they would have been mean and dumb anyways. They would have gossiped about you anyways.
Exactly.
They got a negative connotation and attitude about life. They would have done it anyways. Who cares? Who cares? And you know what? If they gossip about you, I said this like 6 months ago in youth group, unplanned, and I love it. I'm going to keep saying it. Let them gossip about you because what they unknowingly are doing is actually sharing the gospel because they're gossip.
Exactly.
Think about it. They're like, can you believe, buddy, that church boy, he told that girl to stop talking like sexual dirty to him, right? He said that he doesn't need that kind of stuff because Jesus, his love is greater than anything like that.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Takes him off guard, right?
It does.
Can you believe so-and-so? Can you believe VNA stopped going to parties because she says she's got a joy that like is far greater than any drink, than any party?
Thanks.
And like, what the heck? Who does she think she is? And they're like, well, I'm really not fulfilled going to parties either, so
It's so
Let me go talk to them
Yeah.
about what they found.
Yeah,
They're like,
because little do they know, people are like, oh, yeah, they're dumb, but they're literally like, dang, like, so now they know the person who to go to. Like, I can't tell you how many times just like the most random people that either I haven't talked to since like high school or
Right.
weren't even close as hey, hi, bye, or whatever, and just like, hey, like, can you pray for me, or can you pray for me, or can you tell me about like, you know, Jesus or whatever. And I think, and that's why it's so awesome and it's so important to just do what you got to do and do what you're supposed to do and just go
Yep.
all in. Because for face value, you might not see it. You might go months of just constantly doing it and might not see nothing at all.
That's true.
But it just takes that one person to come to you and be like, hey, like, can you just tell me about Jesus? And you'll look back and you'll say it was worth it. I'll do it all
100%.
again, even if I'll do it all again if it meant just this one person coming to know Jesus.
100%. So what we would have done differently in high school, we would have actually loved the Lord.
Yeah.
We would have been bold about the gospel.
Yeah.
And we would have not lived to please man.
Yeah.
And yeah, we probably would have started school groups.
Start a
too.
school group. That's where you can start. Start a school group.
Yeah, start a school group. Well, no one listens to me. Doesn't matter. Start a school group.
Yeah.
You gotta have an outlet,
Even
right?
if it's just one person.
Stop thinking that everybody's got to come to you. Go to them.
Even
Bring
if
the
it's just
gospel
one
to them.
person.
We'll give you whatever you need. Sign up. National Day of Youth Evangelism. NDYE.org. Come to the Uproar
Yeah.
conference. I'm telling you, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Like, literally, this year's going to be insane.
It's gonna be wild. I'm excited.
I can't wait. This might be. It will be the greatest year we've ever.
Yeah. We always go up.
There's only one way to go, and
Only
that's
up.
up. It's going to be nuts.
It's gonna be wild.
Even the merch is going to be better.
Woo-wee.
I'm excited about.
If you miss it, listen.
Yo, last year's merch sold out in like the first
Yeah.
night. People were so mad.
I'm so glad because at first I wasn't. I was like, maybe I'll just wait. I'll just wait to grab some stuff, and I was like, nah, let me just grab it now. And I think it was like the next day or something like
Go
that.
on.
Like only thing there was probably only like a few sets of shirts left, and I was like, I'm so glad I grabbed what I had to grab.
Yeah, and it was wild. But look, we're believing this year for conference to be amazing. And look, if you want to partner to help us get the gospel out to this generation,
Yep.
you can go to theuproar.org and click on give, or if you just go to histabernacle.com and click on the give button, you can give right there and
Yep.
partner with conference. Just make sure if you do on His Tabernacle, you scroll and pick Uproar Conference. But it's going to be out of this world this year.
Yeah.
Also, like, we don't just do conference. We do one-night events.
Yep.
Those kind of got beat up this year.
Yeah, those got,
but I just had someone call me and ask if they could do one in September. So we're going to, like, if it works, we're going to be prayerfully down in West Virginia in September to start a school year off for
Yeah,
somebody.
that would be lit.
With Uproar. Also, the National Day of Youth Evangelism. Last year, we had 13 states represented. All on one day, students went into their schools and they shared the gospel. We're believing in the next few years, every single state will be represented. And we'll see hundreds of thousands, if not millions of students come to Jesus in one single day
So
by equipping them with the gospel. So if you want to partner with us in getting that out, just let us, just theuproar.org or histabernacle.com. And for any of that information, theuproar.org or ndye.org, National Day of Youth Evangelism.
Yeah.
But look, we love you guys, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. And hey, maybe we'll get on here a little bit more on live. But again, we're on a Zoom call like Monday to Friday, and I love these guys.
Monday
They've
through
been so
Friday.
consistent. So, hey, Kenzie, Cam, special shout out. We love y'all, and we'll see you on here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we love some feedback too. Like, hey, real quick before we hop off, comment what you would have done different in high school. I want to know what you would have done different in high school. What would you have done differently in high school? Deidre, what would you have done different? V&A, what would you have done different? Anybody else who's on here, what would you have done differently in high school? And maybe there's some high schoolers watching that they can grow from this. Jessica said, I would have loved someone telling me about a relationship with Jesus in high school. Dang, so no one told her about Jesus in high school. You got to imagine how many people have never heard the gospel. Actually, I saw a statistic and it said 30% of people have never heard the gospel.
That's wild.
which means like Horseheads is a high school of about 12 to 1,300 students. So let's just say 1,200 for easy math.
Mm-hmm.
That means 400 people at Horseheads High School right in our backyard have not heard about Jesus.
Yeah.
At Meyer High School, I think it's about the same because it's 10th through 12th.
Mm-hmm.
About 400 people in that high school have not heard about Jesus.
It's wild.
Let me tell you what, I want every student in every county, in every state, in every nation to hear about Jesus.
Exactly.
And it's because of you. So tell us, what would you have done in high school? What would you have done? I want to know. I'm curious. I know we didn't say everything. We're not that smart.
Yeah.
What would you have done? It'll help a teenager, I swear. Waiting for it. Bonnie, thank you. Heidi, thank you. You guys are phenomenal. Still waiting on y'all. Or maybe you're a high schooler watching. You're saying, hey, I will do this different in high school. What is it that you're planning to do differently in high school? Charlene Nat. Wow, nobody told VNA about Jesus in high school. You know what's cool about that too? Like VNA's an ace administrator. She basically makes conference happen.
Thanks.
Like now, because someone told her about Jesus, she's making sure others hear about Jesus because National Day Youth Evangelism, Upper Conference, she's a huge part of those things.
Yeah.
You guys don't see her face all the time yet.
Behind the scenes.
Yet
no.
But there's it. It's it right there. Guys, no one told her about Jesus.
Yeah.
Heidi said, I loved high school, read the Bible every morning, but college away from home was difficult. She'd set strong ground rules for after high school. That part was rough. Emily Holly, I want to possibly start a school group or just simply tell more people. Oh, yeah. Emily, we're all in on helping you do that. You, Hannah, Lauren, Trey, we love our Mackenzie Minor. We love our group of Horsehead students. Y'all are phenomenal.
Great.
Bonnie said, I was blessed to have an active youth group. Yes,
That's awesome.
It does make a difference.
It makes a huge
difference. It really
difference.
does.
A huge difference.
It's funny too. One girl, she's been a little punk about coming to youth groups. She's like, I hate youth group. I just saw her today. Her mom stopped at the church to drop something off, and she was like,
oh yeah.
She's like, I miss church so much. I miss youth group.
Yeah, people would be putting on the front.
Like, I know you missed us. We know you secretly loved us. Come on, somebody else. What will you do, or what would you have done differently in high school? Yeah, Bonnie, seriously, what a good point.
Yeah,
an active youth ministry.
Super
Like,
important.
even an active youth ministry chasing people, like imagine Buddy not having a youth group chase him.
Yeah, if no one like actively like chased me and, sent me messages that I was able to leave unseen, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. That's why it's so important to, even when the people are like, denying you hard, and you're like, you might run into the person that's just like, they're the last person that would get saved. The key is just remaining consistent. If no one's remained consistent,
bro, people probably thought that about Cole, you, Mo, Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, they'll never get
Never,
right.
exactly.
They'll never get right with God.
Exactly.
Surprised by it. Surprised by the gospel, baby. Surprised. All right, look, we love you guys. If you want information about these Zoom calls, let us know. Comment in here. If you're a teenager, we will send you how to join. But tomorrow, I'm excited about tomorrow. It should be really powerful night. Day, whatever it is. Youth group on Thursday. Look, we're trying to stay connected. I know it's hard right now with Zoom calls and everything. Because, look, let's just be real. School is on Zoom, and it made everything stupid. So, Thursday night should be powerful. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to talk about the devil's game plan. I'm going to talk about the devil's game plan for your life so you can be prepared to overcome it every single time.
Yeah.
And we love you. Have a phenomenal day. And hopefully we can see you soon.
Yeah.
In face.
Enjoy your day.
Face.
Enjoy your day.
Face to face. Enjoy it. Have fun. Bye.
Bye.
See ya. We're not going to know when it's over.
Yeah, we're not.
We'll just sit here for a minute.
We'll patiently wait, just in case we're still on.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll just scroll through our stuff.
It's off. Oh, I think I can hear it.
Oh, it's on. There we go.